Next presenter is Antonio Gill from, I believe it's Phlytech, is that right? Okay, come on up. We got 3 minutes on the...
Hello, my name is Antonio Gill, and we are Phlytech. We are revolutionizing the world through insects. But before we start, I want you to think about a story. It's a story about us. Think about the last time you dropped a piece of food in the garbage. Now think about hotels, think about restaurants, and take it up to an industrial level scale. 17% of the total global food production is wasted. On the other side, I want you to think about a pet food manufacturer. His name is Brian. And Brian is currently having issues because pets are now having allergies. That's right, allergies. And their customers are pressuring him and other companies into becoming carbon neutral in the next years. So wouldn't it be nice if we could grab all that food waste and feed it to the pets? Well, not so simple. Because of logistics, because the food waste spoils easily, and of course, because the diet would not be complete for the pets. So we bridge this gap through a tiny little insect. It's called the black soldier fly larva. What do? We source the waste, we process it minimally, we feed it to the insect, we grow the insect in size, dry it out, and then we sell it to pet food manufacturers. Why wouldn't we sell this to pet food manufacturers instead of traditional food sources? Well, easy, because cattle needs 12 times the amount of feed to produce the same amount of protein as insects, which is why we're focused on our go-to-market strategy on a value proposition about protein you can count on for the future. And of course, it also has allergy-friendly alternatives and optimized nutrient absorption. We're focused on customers that are already doing this, and there are more than 75 brands in the United States currently. We are a team of, I am a previous startup founder and who has extensive B2B sales experience, while my co-founder is experienced in logistics and has experience in manufacturing. We are also partnering with a large fruit processor in Guatemala who has more than 150 tons of banana peels per day. We become profitable when we can process 10,000 tons of food waste into 1,000 tons of larvae. And we are seeking $500 for the recipe, hiring, and the plant. We are disrupting the entire animal feed industry. They urgently need it. To produce a certain amount of protein the traditional way, you need this much water. To produce the same amount of protein the Phlytech way, you need this much water. Fly with us into a more sustainable future with Phlytech.
Awesome, thank you. And I might ask the judges to lean a little farther closer to the microphones when you ask a question. Who has a question? Okay, Kyle.
Any studies around, animal health for feeding insect protein, things like that?
Yeah, so it's actually now starting to grow. Last year is when it was actually approved in the United States. Now you can actually sell this food or this insect to pets, while before it was only treats. And there's a mixed opinion in vets. It's not the same opinion. Not everyone has it, but it's being talked a lot as a healthy alternative to traditional pet food sources in journals, in conferences, and especially now in Europe and now in the United States.
Alex.
How are you planning to overcome the ick factor? Where people say, there's no way I'm going to feed my dog flies, black soldier flies.
So when we started with this project, we initially talked to pet owners, or pet parents, if we can call them that, because they call themselves pet parents. And it was a mix. Most of them said that the whole idea behind insects they're enthusiastic about it as long as they can see a value add. And if they have the allergen friendly and something that's sustainable, and as long as they're not seeing the insect, right? Because it's already processed. It's processed into flour, and the flour is processed into kibbles. So it's not as ick in that way. But definitely some customers will still back away from it at the beginning.
So kind of pulling on that question a little bit more, the market opportunity geographically, are you seeing the approach would be in like the US market or other areas, demographics where insect protein is actually consumed, say by humans, and it's more of a cultural acceptance?
So as of now, we're focused, our beachhead market has pivoted everywhere from human consumption, which was a big no-go here. It has pivoted then to aquafeed manufacturers, which in price points, it's just simply too different. And now we're focused in the United States in pet food specifically, yes. And the reason behind that is we have seen a lot of growth in pet food manufacturing companies that are starting to use insect as their base because of the sustainability and, again, the allergen friendliness.
Are you branding it in a certain way? What's the name of this that helps convey the benefits and without the ick factor?
So we like to say that it's a food you can count on for the future. That's because we truly believe that this protein will be something that you can truly count on and be sustainable in years to come. And we also like the fact that the whole elimination of waste is more of a problem in developing economies, and we're keen to tackle that instead of developing economies.
What will the name be on the label, I guess, is what I'm asking.
The name on the label, Phlytech.
Like insect larva, fly larva? What would be the ingredient?
Yes, we have to market it to the suppliers as insect larva because that's what they're purchasing, or insect larva flour.
I think what Z is asking is, are you going to have an Intel Inside logo on the pet food boxes? My question is related to supply chain, especially since this is a sustainability play. Do food processors have to ship large quantities of waste food to your central factory, or is this a decentralized processing? What do you envision there?
So we looked at several suppliers. The supplier we have partnered with is in Guatemala, producing 150 tons of waste per day, and we're going to be setting up near them where there's space. And another thing that's important to mention is that it's not only going to be banana peels, because you need more protein for the larva to grow the right size, and you don't want it to be too fat. So we're pivoting, and we're also looking at different breweries that are around the area so we can work with spent grains. And they're, I would say, maybe a kilometer away. So everything's really close so that you can have logistics cost as low as possible, because that's really the
and then just
cost.
Final thing, then is the protein powder, the flour, is that then shipped to the United States for processing into food?
Yes, so we would later ship that to the United States.
What's the FDA process behind all this, and how far along are you in that journey?
Okay, so the FDA process, we have not started it yet, but part of this whole journey is us investigating. We have learned that the larva, when it's alive, it has certain specifications. Once you dry it out and once you process it, not the same, it's pretty lenient. But we have reached out to the corresponding facilities so that we can have all the paperwork needed.
What's hard about what you're doing, and can you describe what is the form factor of this, at this facility, so that, I don't know what the neighbors think, but if you know what I mean. And how are you actually, what is your special sauce that enables you to do it? Because you're not the first to do insect protein.
Correct, or not. So I'll address your multi-part question. I guess the first one is, what's hard about it? I would say that at this point, it's really hard to find the required people that are going to build this, because it's a very specialized field. I mean, it is at a point because it's entomologists, and of course entomologists that are helping us design a plant in Guatemala adds a bit more complexity to the situation. And what was the other?
Or just what is this? What is the innovation?
Okay, and the innovation for us, at least, is we're working at a place where the species, so the black soldier fly, is native, which gives us an edge into the actual carbon footprint, because we're not going to have to control for temperature as much as other places where it's currently being produced.
So if Mars came in Guatemala next to your plant, how would you compete with them?
With what? Sorry?
What's your barrier to entry for others to do exactly what you're planning to do?
So our competitive advantage right now would be developing the recipe. It's developing a recipe specialized in the materials we have. It's going to be working on the specific industry and the industry machinery, because we're going to be sourcing everything from new and developed technology, which I know it's temporary. And the third one is what I mentioned. It's going to be a place where we don't have to control and spend so much energy into controlling for temperature.
We have another minute.
Just a question around your roadmap and milestones. So you've mentioned looking into FDA compliance and then also working with this factory overseas, but would be great to get some clarity over like what your 1 to 3 to 5 year plan kind of looks like.
Okay, so as of now, we're focused on developing the recipe. That's our number one priority, and then we're focused on hiring, which is hiring the right amount of people. And then we're going to start out with our MVP. We've already talked to 2 main suppliers. It's a very limited market as well in terms of the machinery, but it would be building our MVP and building our factory. And eventually at year 3 and year 5, what we see is we scale enough so we can have economies of scale into the size of the plant that we're going to be operating.
Thanks so much, Antonio Gill.